What you are about to hear will blow your mind and give you six-pack abs without even exercising.
Pull up a bar stool and relax.
Hey, who wants to have some fun?
You've made it to Happy Hour with John Gaskins.
Oh, no. Not again.
Get ready for entertaining local and regional sports talk that will change your life. Or not.
And by the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
Here's your host, John Gaskins.
Here's Johnny. Hello! Ah!
I'm back, baby! I'm back!
Hey, stranger.
How we doing?
Not bad.
Yeah.
This is Trent Singer. He writes for Sioux Falls Live.
We're doing this again?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do it before you do it because it's been a few weeks.
You like
it's
my
good
hat?
to see you. Wow. That's a sports radio KWSN
I bought this.
hat.
I bought this for
Oh
this
my
moment
God.
right here. It's $3. So
Was this also at the same place you got your University of Vermont hockey?
no,
t-shirt?
I've actually got this at a vintage
Okay.
sale that they do on Saturdays at the what is that? Out of the 8th and Railroad vintage thing.
Okay.
Found it in one of those little bins for $3 and was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm getting that.
Were there any others?
No, I just saw this. Well, this is the one that I got.
I kind of want that.
Yeah,
I
well,
kinda
it's
want
mine.
that.
It's
Okay.
mine.
Okay.
I'll let you borrow
We
it.
can.
We'll talk about it.
I don't know if it'd probably be the best idea. I probably shouldn't be wearing my former employer. I know they fired me. Oh, a lot of good years there.
Memories.
But no longer.
Let's see me wearing
You're not gonna want Matt Zimmer's producing today, with Cordell Wright being out, and Matt mentions.
Give it up for Matt.
He
We
would-
just
yeah.
you give it for Cordell all the time, and this guy's
Yes.
just been on his production game lately.
Yeah, he produced your high school football preview
Didn't
with
edit.
Zach
He
Borg last
produced.
week. Yeah, it's nice of him. I thought he'd bring some work with him or something. No, he's standing there attentively listening to every word you have to say.
You can't just leave.
my phone while you
Yep.
guys are talking.
Oh,
We're using my
He's stuck. He's stuck.
he can't scroll his phone.
phone. I feel like I'm taking a dump without a phone. Like, what
Oh no,
do
I know. How do you take a dump without
That
a
is
phone?
a nightmare these days.
Supposed to read a newspaper or something?
A
Jeez.
book, maybe?
Yep.
A book?
Oh, I didn't bring one.
Oh, okay.
So you guys better be good.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's
Well,
go.
there's all kinds
keep
of
it
things you
entertaining
could
for
watch
Zim.
here on daytime sports TV here at the Gateway Lounge, where a great place to congregate if you're a Yotes fan at 1 o'clock on Saturday, a Jackrabbit fan at 6 o'clock on Saturday. They'll have the sound of the games, and next best place to be besides Vermilion and Brookings. Trent and I, this is our first week of 2026, so our second season together. We call this the Thirsty Thursday football forecast, where, look, it's Thursday, we're getting close, and so, we've been talking storylines, we've been talking to the coaches and Matt Zimmer and Curtis Riggs all week, but, we sink our teeth into the games, and we can't lie about the Jacks and the Yotes. They're heavy favorites, each of them, even the Yotes playing the playoff team from last year in Central Connecticut State. They're still 23.5-point favorites as of Wednesday. And the Jacks are 47.5-point favorites against Stetson. But we've got plenty of things we're very eager to see, eager to watch. And then we'll sink our teeth into high school games, which there are 3 dynamite matchups involving Sioux Falls metro area teams.
What a great week 1 for high school football.
Two great games in AAA, 2 top 5 classes, and then nothing short of a state championship rematch in 11A in Lenox and Sioux Falls Christian. So we'll sink our teeth into all of those. Let's get started on Saturday with the Yotes because they have perceivably the better game with Central Connecticut State, the back-to-back Northeast Conference champions, Northeast Conference Coach of the Year, Adam Lechtenberg. But, I mean, a topic is obviously how's that freshman going to look? Austin Majeski getting the start.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's eyes are on going into this game. I know the kind of the stuff out of campus. He's had a really, really good fall camp here. And what's crazy, I think, about him getting that job is he didn't just beat unproven guys. These are guys with some experience at the college level.
FBS experience. Yes. They both at one point were at Northern Illinois.
Yeah, and that's impressive to me. I mean, he threw for over 12,000 yards in high school. I think he was a 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year in Colorado.
Yes, he
and
was.
when he joined the Yotes, I remember seeing this too. He was the number 3 overall recruit in that recruiting class in the FCS. So they're high on him, and he's going to get his first chance. I think this is a really, this is a great opportunity too for him. I think when you talk about opening the season with under a new coach, everything's new really with this program, and it's nothing new. I think for FCS in general too. We see so much turnover here now. It's kind of the new normal, right? Yeah. And at USD, especially this year, with Vitzman taking over, I know they have like almost an entirely new offensive line. So that's another area I think a lot of Yotes fans are going to be looking at too. Is how does that O-line gel right off the bat? We talked about Majewski. I mean, I think at running back too, Charles Pierre coming off of that injury last year. How does he look?
Well, that's the thing is like the ticket is the freshman quarterback. Yep. Let's not kid ourselves. It's the quarterback position. Yep. There's nothing more fun than, like why has there been so much attention on Fernando Mendoza in the preseason and will be? The Raiders are a terrible team. They're not going to make the playoffs, but we can't take our – he won the Heisman and he was the number 1 pick, and it's his first NFL game against NFL defenses on September 13th or whatever. And this is just like it. When you have a freshman making his first appearance, let alone start in a college football game, and he beat out 2 experienced seniors, one of them who was 8-2 as a starter, completed 68% of his passes, played in 27 games at Dartmouth, then we're quite fascinated to see what he's going to do. That gets you in. That's the marquee. There's no doubt. But the thing is, all the other things that you mentioned, particularly the running backs, well, those are going to be his kind of safety valves or his security blankets. And that's going to be more of the focal point, I think, of the Yote offense anyway. You have Charles Pierre, who ran for over 1,200 yards 2 years ago and was a preseason All-American last year before getting hurt in game 2. They're going to go to that well. You've got Keandre Jones-Logan, who is kind of the short passes in the backfield or into the flat, and watch him make yards after the play. He missed all last year. Those are going to be like probably the guys that are going to be making the most wow plays on offense. But we want to see what the kid has.
I think the strength too, from everything I've kind of read up on this Central Connecticut State team too, the strength that they bring back from a year ago is their secondary too. Eric Jackson had 72 tackles a year ago. He's a defensive back. Chris Jean, he was a preseason first-team All-American. And like you said, I mean, this was a conference champion a year ago in the Northeast Conference. Granted, not on the level of the Valley by no means, but this is a playoff team, right? 2 years in a row, I think they were a playoff team.
You're correct.
So that is, I think when you talk about Majewski getting a really good challenge in his first game, he's going to have one with these, this veteran secondary that they have. So that's something I'll definitely be keeping an eye on. This USD team though, 7 true redshirt freshmen are going to make their start on Saturday. A lot of inexperience could show up early on. We saw that, I think, at the early part of last season, too. They weren't, they struggled in some of those early games, right? Lamar, I know that game in particular is the one that stands out to me. And there was others. I mean, they're in the early going. I think that they started 1-2.
Northern Colorado was
Northern Colorado
really
too.
Bad football operation. And they ended up going 4-8 last year. They were 1-10 the year before, and I mean, USD needed a goal line stand just to get into overtime to beat Northern Colorado. I don't think it's going to be like that. Yes, there's a new head coach. Matt Fitztham seems very ready and comfortable in this spot, and he's been in the program the last 2 years, and it's a new quarterback. But again, I think the running back situation is good. The offensive line part that you've mentioned. That's something that Fitz is really big on, and it only has 1 returning starter, but pointed this out a couple of different times the last couple of weeks on Happy Hour. The guys that they will have on the offensive line, and I don't know the exact starting 5 yet. For one, they're going to have 6 or 7 guys, and there's going to be some rotation. And
there's
some
2 guys that played a lot, and there's 1 starter.
Yeah. So the 2 guys who played a lot, Grant Chapman and Brendan Crispy, they're 6'5" and 6'9".
Jeez.
305 and 320. And they both played in every game last year. So it's 1 returning starter. But then those 2 guys have plenty of experience. Then you have a guy like Jake Utley, 6'6", 315. He played 17 games the last 2 years at UTEP in the FBS. Nick Herzog, 6'4", 300. He was at Northwestern in the Big Ten. Played in a few games. And then Caden Ellingson, 6'7", 310.
Good size.
He's not a returning starter because he was hurt all year last year. I mean, 6'7", 6'6", 6'4", 6'5", 6'9", all 305 or
And
above.
Majeski's 6'5".
I know this is the, yeah, and
You can see over
Majeski's 6'5". So I know this is the big leagues, but these are some big boys, and with plenty of experience any way you slice it, even though they aren't USD returning starters. By the way, Lucas Feldkamp is a name that unprompted, if you ask, and I have, John Thayer has, you ask Matt Vitztham, I mean, who are some newbies that you're going to see on the field and who have been popping in practice? Lucas Feldkamp, redshirt freshman out of Brandon Valley, apparently processes, he's already a big, strong kid, already processes the intricacies of the offense quicker than the average redshirt freshman. So they can't keep him off the field either.
That's interesting.
So offensive line is not much of a worry as it appears on the surface. And when it comes to Central Connecticut State and what they're looking at across the line, there's not much I can tell you. This is a team that gave up 27 points a game last year, gave up 376 yards a game, so it wasn't a prolific defense. And their best defensive player is a defensive back, Chris Jean, first team All-NEC last year, third team preseason All-American. He had 4 interceptions. Other than that, there's not a lot of great information on their defense. And I was like, well, what's Chris Jean's number? Let's go to the Central Connecticut State website. Their roster hasn't been published yet, so that's interesting. And they have a defensive lineman who played for USD. His name is Marcus Simmons. Okay. He's now at Central Connecticut State, so that's an interesting little side story to that game.
And I think defensively for the Yotes too, they've got one of their top tacklers back, Gabriel Hardman, a guy that they're going to lean on a lot this season. Captain. And I think defensively going into this game too, one thing that a lot of Yotes fans are going to have their eye on is that secondary as well, because a lot of turnover in that position, I guess you could say, safety, defensive back, corner. I think there's 5 transfers in there that are kind of stepping into some new roles. I mean, they've looked promising though. Yeah. There's been a lot of good talk, but all the talk in camp is a lot of coaches trying to. That's what they're going to say, right? We've seen it. We hear that every year at the start of the season, that they like what they see from certain position groups. We're going to get our first true litmus test here, right? Like we're going to get to actually see it on the field. And so I think for Yotes fans, there's a lot of intrigue just with this game in general. What's the identity of this team look like under Vitztham, right? Yeah. Like what does all that look like? And I mentioned it at the start, right? Every FCS program deals with this every year. This turnover nonstop, whether it's through graduation or guys leaving to go on to the FBS level, move on. But it being a new normal that's existed for 4, 5, 6 years, really since COVID is when it's really ticked up. Yeah. It being the new normal, coaches have found ways to just retool year in and year out. And I think USD is no different. I have them at 19.5 is the spread. What did you have?
I saw 23.5, but it's okay. So we're in the 3 touchdown range.
I'm going to take them at 20.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 30-10 Yotes.
Okay.
I'm going to say they cover it barely.
I think it'll be a little. Well, defense is always ahead of the offense, and again, it's these things are so hard to predict.
They are, but I like Peter. I mean, like
when there's so many new players.
You have a proven running back here too. I think they're not gonna have a problem scoring. It may start a little slow. I think USD grinds this though. In the second half, you start to see them really pull away.
So if you're
defensively, I like them throughout the whole game.
I'll go by your 19.5 point spread. I'll agree with the cover, and I'll go 38-17. Maybe because I don't know about either of these two defenses. Offensively, Central Connecticut State runs an RPO-based offense, which USD is not used to looking at and playing against, either in practice or in their league. And Matt Vitztham says there's a new quarterback there. There's a new running back. I mean, their running back that they've lost was the player of the year in the Northeast Conference the last 2 years, and they have to replace him. It's an offense that was averaging 100 yards more passing a game than receiving. 63% of their yards, 2/3 came from the pass game. So that could, if if that plays to form, which again we don't know, USD could struggle if they don't get enough pass rush because their secondary is the question mark of the defense with a bunch of new players. But their front seven could generate a lot of pass rush. You have Chris Dixon. Isaiah Ray is a newcomer that Vitz is big on. And then you've mentioned Hardman and a pretty fairly deep linebacker core. So I don't know. I'm going to say 38-17 just because I don't want to give the exact same prediction you do. But we both agree that it's going to be about 3 touchdowns on Saturday for USD. Meanwhile, SDSU is what did you see?
I got 50.
I saw 47.5.
I got 50 with a 54 over-under.
Good old
fun.
FCS point spreads. They run a little bit more of the gambit. They're not as close to each other as all the – there's not quite as much intel.
I don't even know where I got it from. I think the Reddit FCS Twitter account tweeted out all the FCS spreads for week 1. That was like early in the week too. Who knows? That line may have moved, folks.
Yeah, FanDuel had 47.5 as of Wednesday morning. 57.5 over under. So you're looking at like about a 55-3 game or so if you're going by that point spread and that over under. Stetson was 3-9 last year. Stop me if you've heard this. Lowest rated team in the FCS by the Massey rankings. They're the worst team in the Pioneer League, which is the only non-scholarship league. Literally the worst
lowest
team in the
FCS in the Massey. Wow.
Well, So it is a second-year head coach.
I'd be very curious to see what Division II teams are around them.
Zim and I talked about that. Yeah, no kidding. Talked about Mike Jasper, who famous for being one of the biggest NFL players ever at over 400 pounds. The last NAIA player to be drafted in the NFL. But he's a second-year coach, so they have a little more continuity, just like the Jackrabbits do under their second-year coach, Dan Jackson. And they do have 2 returning quarterbacks, which will be interesting. And they have 2 different styles. Chris
one's
Stevenson,
more of a runner, one's more of a passer.
But, when you talk about a 47.5 point spread between a national title contender and the worst team last year, it's almost silly for us to get too much into the weeds. But if you're curious, that's what Stetson has. They have used 2 quarterbacks. Dan Jackson is big on a defensive end who was a JUCO transfer last year who looks really good. They have a bunch of JUCO transfers to address some of their needs. So, again, the Jacks are looking at some new things that you can't just watch last year's film and go, they're going to do this, this, and this, and this is the guy to stop. It still is. For us, we laugh, we poo-poo. It's a 7-touchdown game. Should roll, but I can understand the coaches might have a headache or two of figuring out what the hell these guys are going to do.
Well, I think the 50-point spread, is indicative too of the expectations I think that are coming out of Brookings right now too, right?
Yeah.
Like I think this team is where they picked up in camp from where they were a year ago. Everything that I've read, just reporting wise that Zim's put together and really other people too. I mean, some of the guys that cover this team closely, it seems like they're just so far ahead of schedule than they were a year ago, right? And I think that's what leads into these expectations that they got right now. I think a lot of eyes still same situation as USD. A lot of eyes are going to be on that quarterback spot. Where's Chase Mason at now with this final, the swan song? Where's he at to start off this season?
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be, again, a big position to keep an eye on. Running back, I know, going into this camp, replacing what they had last year with Julius Wolfridge,
he was okay.
Right,
he couldn't hit the home run. It's about.
I'm hearing more of the committee approach too, and I think the delegation of what they do with the carries. A lot of people are what
of course
people are interested in.
There's always that kind of confusion or anticipation of, is it running back by committee? Mm-hmm. Because they're all so good, it's hard to determine who's the best.
I love Josiah Johnson at the tail end of that season last year, and that's where I'm curious to see where he is now, sophomore.
It's either that or is nobody standing out. What do you think it is, Zim, or is it somewhere in between?
We'll see.
Well, yeah, Matt says we'll see. Moments. Yeah, they've all had their moments. Yep. When I asked Dan about the position, he would not commit to a starter or a primary back as on Monday when I talked to him. But the first player out of his mouth was Josiah Johnson. He's a downhill guy, kind of like Loffridge. And then more of the potential home run hitter is the transfer Ramon McKinney.
Yeah.
But those will not be the only 2 running backs involved. So
Well, I think too, him saying that's totally in line with you're going to go. You're the first person out of your mouth is going to be the guy with the most familiarity, right? The guy with the most experience, and then you got Ramon McKinney.
Unless it's the USD quarterback situation.
Yep.
But Majeski did get a year's of red shirt.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
But no, then you have a change of pace, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
That's what I like about this backfield. And I think there's some potential there. It's just a lot of unknowns, and I think that's what a lot of Jacks fans are going to have their eyes, locked in on what this is. That is the identity of this team. They want to be able to run the ball and establish the run to do everything that they've done. It's been the identity for years. It hasn't changed under a new coach. I think Dan wants to run things the same way. I mean, granted, you have a very proven quarterback who's capable of being, your go-to offensive weapon that generates that offense. But I still think they want to be able to establish the run. Any team at this level that is successful is able to do that.
Yeah.
I think Montana, even a year ago, as high-powered as their pass game was, they still relied heavily on being able to establish the run to open up the pass.
Absolutely. I mean, that they have used the magic cliche balanced is what they want to be this year. But on paper, they have the capability of doing more damage through the air than on the ground because of how loaded they are at receiver. And Dan Jackson, he said on Monday that last year, perhaps they lacked explosion plays, right? Yep. And if you're a 47.5-point favorite against a team that was giving up 39 points a game last year, we should expect some big, long touchdowns. Last year, game one of Chase Mason as a starter was Sacramento State. They were a top 25 team. But the offense plotted. I mean, that was a 20-3 boring game. This should be fireworks show right from the start. And Alex Bullock was a really good receiver, but he wasn't a huge home run downfield threat. Now you have that in Graham Goring, and you have it in Lofton Ogroski, who's back and healthy, but also Jack Smith. He had a 75-yard catch and run against USD. Landon Delaney, we saw it a zillion times in high school at Brandon Valley, and unprompted Dan mentioned him.
Really?
As a guy who some practices they gave Graham Goring the practice off so Landon Delaney could get more reps. If you're talking about one of the things I'm really curious to see, how much is Landon Delaney in the game?
Yeah.
And do they go to him? Because there's
this
so
is the
many
game
other guys
to do it, right?
Yes.
This is certainly the game to do it.
And it should be a vanilla game plan. I mean, some of these big plays could be basic plays that like Jack Smith's 75-yarder against USD that just go for a lot of yards because they're not going to bring out their dynamite plays against Stetson. They got Northwestern coming up.
Yep.
So
no, 100%. I agree. I think defensively, you're looking at the secondary. It's a similar situation with, so many new guys in that secondary. Not that they were. I don't know. It's hard to really judge. I think they were second. They ended up being second in the league defensively against the pass last season. There were times though last season where I thought they were lost a little bit. I thought that was their weakness, at least defensively, right?
Yeah.
So there's certainly room for growth there. And like I said, five transfers in the secondary, all guys who are expected to see some pretty meaningful snaps. That's a position group I think is going to be under the eyes of Jacks fans early on in the season, especially in this game.
Things I'm most eager to see on defense are Reese Kirschenman's return.
Yeah.
I mean, some handle injuries better than others, and Dan Jackson said Reese Kirschenman took it tough. It was a traumatic season not being able to play last year. So he's going to be he's really good. He's also super fired up. He's one guy who has not been held back in practice with load management the way that Logan Green has. Chase Van Tol, can't wait to watch him get back on the field. Not only is he a heat-seeking missile, but apparently he's got all the discipline down now. Sometimes he'll just hair on fire, make plays, go to the ball. Now he knows the defense better and knows what to watch for. His technique is better, supposedly. But just in general, he's an exciting defensive player to watch. And how good is the secondary? Just like USD, it's kind of you got a strong front seven, a deep front seven, not as much proven talent on the back end. I don't know. We're not going to learn much about it against Stetson. But
no, we're not.
Yeah,
we're going to even try to pick a score here. This is like bizarre.
I mean,
50 points. I'm actually going to take them not to cover. But I'm going to say it's damn close. I'm going to say 52-6.
Okay. I'll go
two field goals they give up.
I'll go 49-10. They won't cover. Yeah.
49-10.
We're agreeing on that. I don't necessarily know why, because maybe they'll get a big lead and take the gas,
why not? Yeah.
gas off the pedal. I don't know. All right. Well, so we have about 10 more minutes. Go through. Man, you got a lot of notes on Augie, Missouri Northwestern. Let's go. Let's hear them.
Yeah, I mean, these games start tonight, technically, right? This is
We are releasing this on Thursday,
so
taping it on Wednesday.
you know, Augie's going to be on the road.
Yeah.
This little home and home they have with Missouri Western. Should we still start with them? I mean, they were, you know, Augie's picked third in the NSIC this year. The Griffins lost a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a team that was really competitive with Augie a year ago. I covered that game.
Yeah.
And
10-point
Augie was
lead,
down.
third quarter.
Yeah, Augie was down 10 in the third, and ended up coming back and winning it. You know, I think Gunnar Hensley, if you're an Augustana fan, I mean, your eyes are on this offense this whole season. I think this offense is going to be good. I don't know that there's much denying it. Talking with OJ at the start of the season, you know, he talked about team speed last year. We saw it. He said the team speed's even better this year. You know, the depth continues to grow as with continuity at head coach. The depth continues to grow, and that's a big thing in the NSIC. It's something that Glow's talked a lot about trying to establish, and I think we'll get to USF in a little bit, but I think they're on their way. I think you're going to see an explosive team. I mean, that is truly kind of where this all starts. But this team, I mean, this Griffins team has lost a ton. I think they'll see that 3 QBs are all gone. They lost their top rusher. They lost their top 2 receivers. They lost their top 6 tacklers. None of that bodes well for them in this one. I think Augie wins big. I'm going to say 38 to about 10. Yeah. I think another thing to watch for Augie is how do they look defensively?
Yeah.
You know, no more Sipple. They're
right. Defensive coordinator's gone.
Yep. Mark
2
Sipple's
coordinators.
gone. So now they've got Kelly Skolton and Chase King as co-defensive coordinators this year. So it's a young defense too. They're young in some spots. There's some proven guys kind of littered throughout that defense, but overall it's the youngest part of the team, and it certainly is going to be something to watch early on. I mean, where they're at defensively.
I agree. They should win this game. 3-8 in the MIAA,
yes.
As Zimmer pointed out yesterday. You know, you have a better record in most other conferences.
Yep.
But they did lose their quarterback, their top rusher, their top receiver. This should, and there's no line. Is there ever line on D2 games?
No, okay. I've never seen them.
I'm sure there's an underground somewhere that some of our
yeah,
Matt Woodwicki might know. This should be a 2-touchdown road win. Again, it's game 1 in an era where there's so much flux in college football that we're really kind of throwing spaghetti at a wall.
Yeah.
But, I heard a great point made this morning. When it comes to all of college football, I think it applies to every level. These are 18 to 22-year-old kids, and on the road, it's much harder. Freaky things happen on the road.
I think Augustana and you know, Jerry Olszewski could be the first one to tell you that.
So
I've seen some weird games.
There could be a lot of things that could go pear-shaped. I mean, you know, Ohio State was a 20-point favorite and lost by 30 to Purdue once with Urban Meyer.
Yep.
I mean, there's examples everywhere across the board. They're the only team of our 4 in our area in college that are on the road this weekend. They'll probably struggle the most. Instead of predicting scores, they're going to probably struggle the most.
Yep.
And, you know, I hope I'm wrong because I like Jerry and I like the team, and they could score a lot of points. But, you know, I think that if they came out of there with I hate to be cliche, if they came out of there with a 1-point win, I think they'll be happy.
Oh, yeah.
Because we just don't know what to expect. But I'll say they'll win by a couple touchdowns. Black Hills State at USF. Meanwhile, Black Hills State lost their quarterback from last year and an explosive wide receiver. They were 3-8, but USF was in their place in Spearfish, and crazy things happened. They barely escaped. Now they got them at home on Thursday.
I am incredibly intrigued by the Cougars this year. They were picked 4th in the NSIC. I mean, everything out of fall camp too. I mean, you just got to think about everything that they bring back. You know, they bring back Bubba Tan, they bring back Hank Brown, and obviously at quarterback, they know what they're doing. You know, with Cam Dean gone now, they have an answer with the way that Tate Schaefer played, and they are high on the rest of their quarterback group too. I mean, Bennett Brook has played well too, and you know, it was a battle going through camp, but I think the way Tate Schaefer finished that year out, you know, it's his job, and I don't know that you can really take it from him with the way he proved himself, I think, towards the end of that season. Granted, you know, I think what was most interesting was, you know, that first game, Southwest Minnesota State, you know, that was, I think it was the first play from scrimmage. He had to basically come in right after.
Yep.
He was outstanding, just right in a pinch action.
Player of the week, yeah.
And it is Southwest Minnesota State, but it's he didn't just, it wasn't a flash in the pan. I thought he looked good beyond that, and as they close things out. And I don't know, this team's really interesting to me this year because
Favorable schedule, Zim points out, and I think that includes this. This should be a 3-touchdown win, maybe 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think so too.
And again, preseason polls don't mean a whole lot, but it's we only have so much to go off of for game number 1 to actually make a prediction. This team is picked to finish 8th in the Rocky Mountain Conference. I mean, the Cougars are picked to finish 3rd in one of the better leagues in the country out of 15 teams. So this should be a wrap.
Yeah, I agree.
Under the lights.
Let's say I'm gonna go.
I'm
gonna do it 31-14.
You don't have to put a score in it, but I'll go Augie to win 28-14 on the road, and then USF at 31-10.
Take that to the bank.
Don't ever. That's like this should be the slogan of our show. Don't take this to the bank. Quickly with the high schools, we should have spent more time on this because these are actually going to be some close games. Lincoln and O'Gorman. Lincoln and O'Gorman, number 1 versus number 5 to kick off the season, and Brody Schaefer's senior campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I like Lincoln a lot this year. I think the question is who can keep up with him, and we're going to learn a lot from this O'Gorman team. If where those teams kind of that we're right now looking at in the middle, where they kind of land with Lincoln. There's a lot to like about the whole AAA field when you look kind of at each team in our area. Brandon Valley, I think, being one of the teams where there's the most questions, but I think with just the culture that's been built there and the year over year that we see, I think that's going to be a good team at the end of the season. They might struggle early on, but I think Brandon Valley later in the year is going to be right there, trying to get to the semifinals, and we'll see what their draw is at that point to move beyond that, but. It's a great test. I mean, obviously Chase Hermanson, Isaac Myers are both back for O'Gorman, and we knew what they were capable of last year. That they turned some heads towards the end of the season. I think they won 5 of 6 to close things out.
You are right.
And they beat Jefferson in a game that I was probably the most surprising game result in all of high school football last year.
I remember that. I do. Look, they have 3 returning starters. They lost 26 seniors at O'Gorman.
Yep.
We saw how they came on strong at the end of last year with a new quarterback, Chase Hermanson. He actually was the hero at Harrisburg in game 1. He engineered
25-24.
Yeah, he engineered a 19-point comeback in game 1. But I think O'Gorman's going to struggle early and then come on late because the Popping guys always know how to put things together with smaller rosters, literally mostly across the board, smaller players, especially up front. They figure it out, but I think against Lincoln, that's a tough task in game 1.
For sure.
And, the Patriots lost Mikey Roach and Louis Akosi, a lot of their firepower at receiver. They lost their tight end in Seth DeGroat,
Sam DeGroat.
Sam DeGroat, thank you. I had a friend named Seth DeGroat in Worthington.
Also, Honor, I believe, is gone.
Devontae Wilson at running back will be interesting
for
Jefferson because he's not at Lincoln anymore.
Yeah. Braden Jackson, though, they have Washington's running back.
But Lincoln's running back is Brody Schaefer.
Yeah,
pretty especially much. Late in the game. I just think I like Lincoln by at least a couple scores.
They
here,
will not
3
have – I don't care what they lost offensively from a year ago. I think they're outstanding players. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Louis Akosi and Mikey Roach were great.
Yeah.
It really won't slow this train down. I think they're still going to be an offensive juggernaut. They're going to lead AAA in scoring. I mean, they just have a guy who will find ways to score every time they have the ball. And I'm really curious to learn more about where his confidence is at as a senior now.
Brody?
Yes, and it's got to be sky high, and I think that's what's going to carry this team. I mean, they will be carried by the leadership from that senior class, which includes Brody Schaefer.
Yeah, I'm going to go like 49-20 or so in this game against O'Gorman.
Man. Yeah, that seems about right. 49-28, something like that.
Yeah.
Because this O'Gorman team can score. It's just I don't know that there's going to be a ton of teams at all in AAA that are going to be able to slow down Lincoln this year.
Jefferson Harrisburg, number 3 versus number 4. To me, this is the game of the week.
It's the game of the week.
Saturday night, 6 p.m. It's the Tiger Bowl in Harrisburg.
Yeah.
So that adds a little bit more flair to it. I'll be on the call for Midwest Sports Plus. By the way, Zach Borg has Lincoln and O'Gorman, which will follow Rapid City Central in Washington. That's a 5 o'clock game. That's a doubleheader. That's going to be on KSFL TV. Channel 36 over the air, channel 616 on Midco. But all these games on MS Plus, Midwest Sports Plus, get the app. It's a low subscription fee. You can watch those on your television set as well. But Jefferson comes in, they return both quarterbacks, and they are again going to use both of them. Now, last year, for a lot of the year, when both were healthy, Eric Struck, now the second-year head coach, offensive play caller for Jared Fredenberg in Lincoln for a state title, he would have Boston Bryant lead them down the field as a sophomore. And once they got toward the goal line, he brought in Kason Mettinger, who's a taller slider kid. He's reversed it. He told me on Monday, Kason's the main guy, but Boston Bryant being a bigger guy, tougher to tackle, might be a better option in the quarterback run game, will bring them home when they're trying to score. Fascinating.
Yeah, this is going to be this is the way I see this race right now, and we're going to learn a lot more after week 1, right? These are 2 great games to start the season. The way I see it is Lincoln's your obvious number 1 team, and I see it too, this matchup right here. I see Jefferson and Harrisburg as kind of a 2A, 2B. I can't really quite place. I think I put Jefferson right above them just based on last season. Yeah. But again, this Harrisburg team, I'll say it to the ends of the earth. I'm high on them. I think that offensive line continuity is so big, especially a program like Harrisburg, where you got a 17th-year coach in Brandon White. I mean, you've got culture, you've got continuity, you have this winning tradition too. They win there. The suburb schools are just kind of built a little differently when it comes to reloading and retooling, because the participation is so much higher. Yeah. You have so many guys to turn to, guys who have played a lot of football but haven't played a lot of varsity football. So you see some of those early growing pains. That's not the case though with this Harrisburg team. This whole offensive line is back. I liked what I saw from correct me, is it Jonah Young? That's it.
Good job. Good save.
Got there. I like what I saw from him towards the end of that season. They're like Josiah Hines. You mentioned him. They don't have him anymore. And
so, but you know what? I think David Doe's got. They're going to have more. They're going to have a committee, but David Doe is the backup guy. Big, strong, athletic kid. He can run people over. He was a basketball player as well. That just he sticks out like a sore thumb. And I'm not going to make a bold prediction. I am very interested to see, especially against an Ed Whiting Jefferson defense that tends to, blitz a lot, which means sometimes you're going to get beat in the run game. I just, whether he pops on Saturday against Jefferson or not, I think David Doe is going to have a big year at running back.
I'm going to say Harrisburg wins this game on the sole basis that I think, look, okay, one thing with Jefferson is they did lose some key leaders, Eddie Whiting, Davion Simonson.
Yeah.
This is actually, we don't see this a lot at the high school level, especially when you go to Howard Wood and you see some of those slim crowds. I mean, Tiger Stadium is one of the hardest places to play, I think, in AAA. It's a tough venue, and it gets loud down there. When you're on that field, you can feel it. It's the loudest. To me, when you're on the field, it's the loudest place that I've heard at the high school level. I just think there might be, first game jitters maybe a little bit, and maybe we see a few hiccups there. I think Harrisburg defensively too. They've got some experience at all 3 levels defensively, and I like them to take care of business in this first game and maybe shake up those rankings a little bit. I think Harrisburg wins this one.
I'm going to use the Kirk Herbstreit protection rule on predicting games. I'm calling it.
You're calling
I'm not going to make a prediction. I do expect it to be really close. Yeah. It's probably going to come down to a turnover or 2 and maybe a last team who has the ball wins the game sort of thing. I think it'll be a really good game.
Could see that.
In lieu of time, I'll
ask you after the show who you really think is going to win.
Okay, sure. In lieu of time, we'll just we'll motor right to maybe the game of the week, at least in all the 11-man classes. Lennox and Sioux Falls Christian in Lennox on Friday, state championship rematch.
Yeah, it's Sioux Falls Christian kind of in the same similar boat to what we see with some of these AAA teams as far as, they lost a lot. I mean, there is no denying they 7 all-state guys that they're replacing, but they bring back their quarterback. There's some guys, Jude Prinz, there's some guys who have played. They lost their leading tackler, who was a freshman linebacker, Lincoln Olseth. He's not playing this year, out for the season. There's certainly some question marks for this Sioux Falls Christian team. And on the flip side, there's certainly some question marks, I think, quarterback, some key spots offensively. Defensively, though, this Lennox team, they return a lot. And I think that's going to be their bread and butter this year. I don't know, man. Early in the season, this is a tough one for Sioux Falls Christian. I know they were 12-0 and they dominated last year on their way to that. But I don't know. I think Lennox is going to pull it out in this first game. Sioux Falls Christian's a team that I think throughout the season you're going to see some growth.
Yeah.
Some guys just need some experience to kind of settle into roles. Would not be surprised if these are the two teams at the very end again, third year in a row. But I'm going to say Lennox wins it on the road.
Okay.
Or at home, sorry.
Without knowing much about either team, to be honest, I'll take the home team in a game one matchup like that.
Yeah.
And will be fun. Somebody's going to be there to cover it. Will you?
We will have a reporter there, Riley Nordquist. Who
Okay.
will be, covering that game.
Yeah. So we've got that. Zimmer's here to help cover for us. We've got a lot of games that will be covered. You're going to be at Bob Young Field on Thursday for the USF game. Zim is. Sorry. Thank you. So we'll have
I'll be at Banana Ball, baby.
You will be at Banana Ball on Thursday?
Yes.
Okay. Looking forward to that write-up. Zim and I talked about that yesterday. And then Friday, we got Gorman and Lincoln that will be covered and televised. What else? Lennox and Sioux Falls Christian. Matt's going to be Madison and Del Rapids. Yeah. Wow.
What are you doing Saturday?
Saturday. Yeah. Matt will be at the Jacks game on Saturday. So will Marcus Traxler. Trey Houchin in Vermilion to cover the USD game. And will you be at the Harrisburg Jefferson?
I'll be at Harrisburg Jefferson.
I will see you there.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay.
I ain't walking up all those steps, man.
Well, you're not wearing that hat. I'll tell you that much. Read all about it at SiouxFallsLive.com. And then on Monday, we're going to talk all these things that we just forecasted on our Thursday football forecast. We're going to hear what our Monday morning or Monday afternoon quarterback, Curtis Riggs, thinks of all that.
There you go.
Can't wait for that. That's it for the week. Great week. Dan Jackson, Matt Fitztham, Sam Herder, Eric Struck from Jefferson, Zim. It's all there. SiouxFallsLive.com. We're off and running.
Cheers, sir.
For Trent Singer, video producer today is Matt Zimmer. I'm John. Happy hour and cheers.
It's still happy hour with John Gaskins. This round's on me.
Well, just right in the throes of the kickoff to the football season, we've been just going really deep into the weeds over the last month or so. And we rarely don't talk sports on this show. But I think today, with the school season starting for so many kids across Sioux Falls, this is a good time to bring in Matt Zimmer's wife, Jenn Kenyon Zimmer, who has a cause near and dear to her heart. And we'll put it this way. Just imagine not being able to afford to eat lunch and being denied the opportunity to do so as a kid in school. Unfathomable, but Jen's making sure that doesn't happen in Sioux Falls, and it's closer to happening than anybody would like it to be. So thanks for joining us, Jenn. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me, John.
Yes.
Haven't seen you since
what's that?
Haven't seen you since Lincoln.
We had a fun time in Lincoln. That is for sure. Last month covering the American Association All-Star Game and Home Run Derby with the Sioux Falls Canaries. You asked me a bit ago, to hop on in and to bang the drum for your cause, and more than happy to do so. You did write a story that's up at SiouxFallsLive.com, similar to the conversation we're going to have. But we'd love to hear from you. What made you decide you really wanted to get behind this?
Well, for one thing, I want to make clear that this is not just my sole cause. There's an organization called Hungry Hearts that has done the bulk of the heavy lifting in terms of money donated to ensure that school lunch debt is cleared and paid off for these kids. I just got curious about whether or not there was any remaining at the beginning of the school year. So I reached out to my buddy, Dr. Nold, and he gave me a number. I think it was $22,300 is what was left on the books after Hungry Hearts had done all of their work fundraising throughout the year, because they donate tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And there's some matching funds in there. And so anyway, the amount of money that was left was less than $25,000. And I thought, what the heck? Like, that can't be that hard to raise, can it? So I decided to get on a soapbox about it. And I don't know exactly where we're at the moment. I know it was several $1,000s in for sure. I haven't had a chance to check with my contact at the child nutrition office of late. It's on my to-do list for today, actually. But I know we're well under $20,000 remaining. So every kid will start without a negative balance, and that's a really good thing because it's unfathomable, like you said, to like have a kid go hungry or have them worry about it. And I, feel very strongly about that. So
It's hard to believe that that is an option, but you know this whole system better than I do. I mean, I had a chance to do a story about this when I was back in local news a couple of years ago, and it was, it's just heartbreaking, especially to talk to those in the child nutrition office of the schools who have to be the messengers
right.
that everyone wants to shoot, just
Right.
for the term intended. And but there's nothing they can do. What to your knowledge does happen once? Is it a certain amount that climbs to that then they have to start denying kids lunch, or what's the threshold?
I don't actually know. I didn't ask because frankly, I didn't want to start crying.
Think about it. Yeah, right.
But I do know that this is from a sort of unofficial sourcing, if you will, but someone that a contact I have that works within the district, not the child nutrition office and not Dr. Nold, but that fully probably a third of the problem of these kids who do not have access to school lunches or who could qualify for that reduced or free lunch. There's a situation where parents are just not making the effort to fill out the application, or they just are not caring enough to do it. Like there's like a very legitimate and serious negligence issue in a sect of this population of children who do go without food or who and would otherwise qualify. And it's not, I clarified this with my contact. I was like, it's not a translation issue. She's like, no, it's not that. She's like, but fully, I would say about 30% of the people whose kids, kids who consistently show up on the, hey, we're in the negative list, they could qualify for reduced or free lunches. And the parents just either won't or don't make the effort to fill out a simple application. And so facilitating that, I think, is going to be another of my pet projects this year, is seeing how we can help those kids, get their name on a piece of paper, because that shouldn't be a barrier to entry for a child to have lunch if their parent is not making the effort, which is, again, also unfathomable to me. But it's apparently a very real problem, which is, my brain can't comprehend it. But
yeah. And are those, so how does it work in general? It's been a long time since I've been in public school, elementary school. We're talking about the 80s here. And with fond memories of beef cutlets and pepperoni pizza, and the days in squares, of course. But we laugh about it. We had the option; you could bring your own lunch that your mom packed you, or you can go pay. It was like 80 cents a day. Like you had to bring money at the public school to pay for lunch. How does it? To your knowledge, you have a son in the school systems, a 10-year-old. Yep. How does it work right now?
The way that it's paid for is there's this app called, what is it, My School Bucks. You have to have so many apps to have a child in school anymore. But anyway, we just deposit money into his account, and then I don't know if there's a thing he scans or like a number he punches in. I don't actually know what the interface at the thing is like. But so then anytime his account will fall, I think I have an alert set on it that if it falls below like $35, it sends me an email saying, "Hey, dummy, put more money in your kid's account." I don't know. Like I said, I didn't ask the specifics of what those thresholds are of, when do they get the, like the special lunch that's like the, barely a, sandwich. I don't know all the particulars of that because like I said, I kind of intentionally didn't want to ask. I just wanted to find out how much money it would take to make it so that didn't need to be a conversation to have. Because as I said in the article that you guys published for me, I was one of those kids, and it sucked in so very many ways. Not the least of which was just the stigma, the shame, the embarrassment. You know what I mean? Like middle school is in general, like, it's hard enough. And that was a really, really, I don't know, formative experience for me, and thinking about like just the opportunity to, hopefully prevent another kid from having to feel that, like that would be really exciting, is really exciting. So
what situation, drawing from your own experience, would you run into? Well, how would the process work when you came from a place and a family that sort of thing was not affordable? What was the process of going to lunch, hoping you'd get lunch?
I don't recall all of the specifics, but my vague recollection was that there were times when you'd like get to the end of the line, and I want to say we had to punch in. We had like a 4-digit number, and more than once, it was. I think I said in my article, it's about 6th grade that I became aware of the issue, but that I would have to turn around and go like put something back. Or like, I think there was a bag lunch situation, I want to say, that was like the, you know, if you didn't have money in your account, but they didn't make you go fully hungry. Like I said, I don't remember all the particulars of it. I just know that the lunch lady who was manning that terminal for all those years that I had to go through that line, was an angel, and definitely like was looking out for me and made sure that like I felt as little embarrassment and as little, I guess, just terror and shame as possible, because that's scary as hell, you know? I mean, being 12, 13 years old is hard enough. And then to, you know, suddenly have the lunch line be a place that's not only not only scary, but just really stressful. Like, great, what's going to happen today, you know? And yeah, I feel very, very strongly that this is just one of those things that like school lunch debt should not exist. Like that should be an eradicated term. It's just, it's insane to me. It shouldn't be a thing.
So fill in the blank, and we'll get back more into the process of how people can help, what Hungry Hearts is. But if, and we'll just say when, to be optimistic about the heart of people who will read your column at SiouxFallsLive.com and will listen or watch this chat. If the school lunch debt is eradicated, it gets down to zero, then blank, then what happens?
So it will go directly into an account that will immediately be utilized to fund accounts that will, as we know, unfortunately, they will go back into the negative again. It's going to happen. There will continue to be a need, and I have it on good authority that it is presumed that the need will be greater than ever this school year in particular, given the state of things, if you will. It's presumed that there will be a greater need financially this year than there maybe ever has before. And so any money above and beyond that, like I said, I think it was $23,500 is what the number was when I first contacted Dr. Nold earlier this summer. Anything above and beyond that goes into an account that immediately will go towards clearing balances as they, unfortunately, as we know, will start to accumulate again as the school year progresses. So the money will absolutely be going to good use. If we are fortunate enough, to clear it all and end up with some extra, it will definitely not be... It will not go to waste.
Yeah. Does this ensure free lunch for all, or is it just free lunch for those who would qualify to need it?
I don't know I didn't get into the particular mechanics of how the money is doled out. I just asked for one big number because I figured there were probably some privacy concerns there. So I tried to keep my questions to Dr. Nold as general as possible. All I know is that one big number, the $23,500, was what remained after the 25-26 school year. And I do know that like the reduced lunch application and like the, you know, like need based, like I'm assuming that that's part of the calculus of how they distribute those funds. But in general, my thought was just, I don't really particularly want to get into the weeds of it too much. Just if it's zero though, that means every kid has lunch that day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not familiar with all the mechanics of it. The people at Hungry Hearts are probably much more qualified to talk. In fact, they surely are. I'm just a busybody mom who decided to get a bee in her bonnet about something. And
You, again, you've talked about what you went through, and you have a 10-year-old now who's more fortunate than you. You know, you're not in the boat of families who are struggling to be able to pay for your kids' school lunches, but you now have a kid going to school every day, and this seems so like, I don't know, redundant, self-explanatory, unnecessary, but I guess we could still just make it so real to people, like not going with lunch for a kid, any of us as humans, but certainly a kid when they're in school, between school walls for whatever it is, 6-7 hours a day. How do you think that affects a kid? Not just the psychological damage that may be done of people of not having any food and, sitting down with other people who have food.
Right.
And you talked about your embarrassment and shame.
You can't learn.
What else do you think would go into not having a lunch and being denied a lunch?
As McGovern said famously, was the exact quote, like a hungry child cannot learn effectively. It's not possible. There's a whole component of your brain needs nutrition to work. In addition to the emotional stress, trauma, stigma, it's physiologically a a setback to these kids because the human body needs fuel to run and to function. And so, yeah, it's just, like I said, it's unfathomable to me that it's even a thing. It shouldn't, school lunch debt shouldn't exist, just like billionaires don't need to exist either. But that's a soapbox for another day, I guess.
Right. But yes, but from my own experience going through school myself, but also working on stories involving schools and children, covering it for local news and talking to people, school officials, et cetera. A lot of the kids that are the quote unquote trouble kids that struggle not only with grades, but their behavior, they tend to be on the side of the lower income kids. And part of that is no doubt partly because they're just not getting enough to eat when we don't. That's why there's Snickers commercials out there, about how crazy our brains and our behavior can get when we're hungry, and sometimes when we're having a bad day or in a bad mood or feeling nervous about life, and we start to say things we shouldn't, do things we shouldn't, even to our loved ones.
And then you factor in that we're talking about developing brains here that
you can trace it back to maybe you just need to eat something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like maybe you're a little hangry, like that happens. And even if you're not chronically like malnourished or not, able to access regular meals. And the fact that these are developing brains, like that can't possibly be stated prominently enough, that how important nutritional development is to a growing body, brain, mind. Like, we know now that like the human personality, it doesn't even finish forming till you're like 25. Your prefrontal cortex is still developing. Like these poor kids are going through the throes of physiologically maturing. You can't do that if you're not fueled correctly, and you sure as hell can't learn very effectively if your body is struggling to do the bare minimum, which unfortunately is a situation some of these kids find themselves in if their account goes too far into the negative. Like I said, I don't know the exact particulars, and I know every effort is made to not let things like that happen. But at the end of the day, the reality is, like you said, the child nutrition office is like they're the messenger of this thing. Like I know that her name's Gay Anderson. She's wonderful. She's the child. She's one of the best people. Yeah, she's just one of the best people. She's been an absolute delight to work with on this. I'm sure if she had it her way, like she'd be handing the lunches out for free herself, but that's not, unfortunately, the reality that we live in. And so I know that they work tirelessly to do absolutely everything that they can. And to wit, there was only $23,000 something left on the books after last school year, which I was pleasantly surprised by that number. And that's kind of why I decided to, like I said, get a bee in my bonnet about it, because I figured, well, shoot, like if everybody gave $1 and a couple people have given more than $1. So
yeah,
very attainable.
Yeah. In a moment, we'll let people know how they can give, how it works. It's very easy. Let's just do that right now. Because it was spelled out in your article. I encourage people to read it. And at the end, it told you where to go. And yes. I went there, and I felt good. I felt like I've done something as a human today.
All you have to do is either Venmo or there's an address, and it's listed on the. I should have had it pulled up. I apologize. I was in the middle of.
You know what? I've got it right here, Jen. Okay, the Venmo address is at SFSD Child Nutrition. That's at SFSD Child Nutrition. It's all lowercase letters, all one word, no punctuation, at SFSD Child Nutrition. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, send a cash or check to the Child Nutrition Office of the Sioux Falls School District. That's at 1011 North Western Avenue. That's two words, N period, and then the word Western, as in Western Avenue. And the school district's zip code is 57104. So, but much easier. I did it on my phone. Just get the Venmo app at SFSD Child Nutrition. That's it. It takes like 30 seconds, and you'll feel much better about the world and your place in it if you do that. I'll go all the way back to something that you mentioned earlier, that some kids actually do qualify, but would qualify for free or reduced lunches, but their parents don't fill out the paperwork. And I think most people are in the extreme tiny minority here, but I have seen comments on these stories. Like I said, I've done this story before myself. Everybody should be on board with this cause. But there are some people who are going to say, well, it's not my problem that some kids' parents can't or don't fill out paperwork. And so that's, I guess that means they should pay the consequences for that. by not having food at school. What would you say?
Preposterous, because these are innocent children who they did not ask to be put in this position. They have no, I mean, depending on the age we're talking about here, but I happened to hear a couple kind of heartbreaking, like specific accounts of little kids who they have no ability to go about, filling this paperwork out themselves. They're not like, it's just unfathomable that somebody could be that heartless. Like, I have no space for that thought process in my brain. Like, and hopefully not too many people think that, but hopefully there's more people that are like you and I and want to help and be part of the solution, because it's not their fault. That's the biggest thing, is it's just, they're innocent children and they need food to function. Everybody does. So this is like a basic human rights thing. It's that simple.
Yep, sure is. At SFSD Child Nutrition.
And one more thing, if you donate via the Venmo, it may be, Gay did mention to me that sometimes she doesn't always get like the address information come through with the transaction. And so if you are wanting a letter for tax deduction purposes, I am helping facilitate that wherever I can. So I don't know if you want to give people my Twitter handle, or you can certainly share my email address. But if you make a donation via Venmo and want to ensure that you get that letter for tax deduction purposes, I will personally facilitate that and make sure that the address gets to her so that she can mail you the letter. So that piece is all tidied up and taken care of too.
Do you want to do that here?
Yeah, sure.
Where can people find you?
You can email me, Jenn at JennKenyon.com. It's JENN at JENNKENYON.com. Or I am on Twitter at Purpleshoe, PURPLESHOE. Those are probably the best ways to potentially reach me.
Okay. Well, I'll let you get back to your day job. Thanks for standing up for kids and ending hunger, and now you have to get back to eventually living and working. Fill in the blank. Living and working at home, daily basis with Matt Zimmer is.
You know what? It's kind of fun. I get to eavesdrop on some interesting conversations sometimes. I've become a real fan of sports gossip. It's kind of one of my new favorite things. I gotta admit. So I get to hear some dirt every once in a while.
All right. Thanks, Jen. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it.
Jenn Kenyon Zimmer, Matt Zimmer's wife. That'll do it for this week's happy hour. A reminder: we have the South Dakota Sports Lounge tomorrow with SDSU coach Dan Jackson, the voice of the Coyotes, John Thayer, and more. And you can race back to find all our interviews this week with Dan and with Matt Vitztham and me and Zim yesterday for another Nobody's Listening Anyway. All right there. SiouxFallsLive.com or Midwest Sports Plus, the app. For Drew Trafton today, making sure everything worked, I'm John. Happy hour, and cheers.
You need anything else, John?
No, I think I'm good, Greg. I think I'm going to tap out.
All right. Have a good night.